this is our template from Arthur Young's theory of process. It's the most accurate model for how the universe and consciousness evolves that I've ever seen by far. So let's see how this functions in terms of election fraud. Okay, so at level 1, something's going on out in the world. So I'm labeling it just some people want to rule for whatever reason. They've been abused, they've been abandoned, they don't have enough love in their lives. Something's wrong, and so they want to compensate by trying to rule over other people. And then some people might, really think that it's a necessary thing, that it's a good thing, and so they think they're the best ones to do it, so they want to rule. All sorts of reasons, but the bottom line is there's a reality out there that we're all dealing with, is that some people want to rule us. So as soon as a reality occurs, then it immediately starts getting spun. This has been going on for millennia. So you get the notion of a pharaoh, the notion of a king, the notion of a president. As each one gets exposed, they need to cover themselves better. And this is now what I call the vote con. That somehow majority rules, even if it were real, that somehow that's okay, that a majority could rule everyone else. Well, that was the theory behind a lynch mob. Okay, so when you start following the money, you go upstream, you go down the rabbit hole, however you want to see it, into this reality. You see that the notion of authority allows for and supports the notion and the function of a monopoly on force and therefore on money. And that's what enables this whole agenda. Look at the money that was involved in rigging this election. And now you're going to see, unfortunately, I'm quite confident you'll see attempts to use the force to suppress the truth. And then when you get to the bottom of the rabbit hole, you get to the scum, you get to the bottom of the barrel, what you see is fake votes for the global domination agenda. So again, this was not just a democratic or a socialist or a communist or a Chinese or a Spanish or Italian or Iranian agenda. This was a deep state agenda. I say in Thrive 2 that the real struggle is no longer between nations and genders and races and age groups and classes and so forth. It's between those of us who want to be free and those who would continue to try to take our freedom from us. That's the GDA, and that's at the bottom. Once you see through that, which takes a lot of courage, more and more people are risking their social connections, risking their finances, and even risking their lives to go for the truth. And that what the truth does is it enables effective action. Then you can start moving on to solutions. So as you do the turn, you move into individual sovereignty. By definition, this kind of truth-seeking, this kind of courage is a requisite of individual sovereignty. They go hand in hand. And then as an individual sovereign, you can choose to create voluntary community. And this is happening a lot. People who've gotten shamed or canceled or unfriended, you're finding new friends, aren't you? It's amazing to watch it happen. And these new friendships, there's not only an infinite number of them, but it's so much deeper because it's based on courage and it's based on your soul connection and your truth and your willingness to take action and your ability and desire to have the conversation go anywhere rather than, we can't talk about politics, we can't talk about race, we can't talk about religion or spirituality, we need to walk on eggshells with each other. No, we got trained to do that so that no one would bring up government and no one would bring up all the suppressions that are going on. Okay, so then as you choose your voluntary community, then we can create the viable alternatives, the whole system alternatives at every scale of nature and in every sector, and then be ready, as Mike Byrne said, and Patrick Byrne, as he said, you need to create them and then be ready to defend them. Because if we're not ready to defend them, they will disappear and there will be no one left to defend them. We can do this through information if we take courage now. The final step is we're actually living in a free and thriving world. And I believe that this can happen faster than almost anyone, even me, believed a few years ago that it could, because the deep state has so overextended themselves in trying to do this leap over the goal line before the whole financial system and the medical system and the pharmaceutical system and the educational indoctrination, before all that gets exposed, which is happening through the internet and truth media. They're making this lunge now where they're becoming so obvious. And people like Bill Barr and Mitch McConnell and Mike Pence and Mitt Romney, all these people are having to declare their allegiance to the deep state. And so it's becoming obvious who actually stands for freedom and who stands for tyranny.